welcome to our Saturday night yin practice. I'm Erin. I'll be taking you through our sequence this evening. We will use a block and a blanket like usual, and we will go ahead and get started on our backs. And make sure that your block is within arm's reach, just as you're getting yourself set up. I'll use it at the beginning of class, but we'll start in just any comfortable supine position on your back. Getting yourself set up, grabbing any props that you want for your first shape. And starting to find stillness and close the eyes. Bringing your attention inward. Noticing the body. Noticing the breath. Might be the first time that you paid attention to those things today. Feeling where your body connects to the floor underneath you. Feeling all those points of contact. The weight of your physical body resting on the earth. And starting to feel the breath moving in and out as you inhale and exhale. If you haven't done so already, taking a hand and placing it on your belly. And just becoming aware of that rise and fall with each breath. As you breathe, starting to intentionally slow down, lengthen out inhales and exhales. Finding your in breath to a count of 4, and out breath to a count of 4, creating equal hearts. Taking several more rounds of this 4-4 breath. And then just observing whether anything feels different after that. And letting that go. If you haven't done so already, we'll bend the knees, plant the soles of the feet on the ground, heels in pretty close to the hips. We'll bring arms alongside the body, palms face down. And inhale, we'll start to press hips up towards the ceiling, circle arms overhead. And then exhale to roll the spine back down to the mat. Arms come back down. Inhale to lift and circle arms. Exhale to lower, one vertebrae at a time. Let's move through 3 more rounds of this dynamic bridge. Thinking about pressing through the sole of each foot as you lift. Bringing the spine back down, rolling the tailbone to the earth last as you lower. And on that third lift, we'll pause and hold in our bridge, and then grab your block, and then choosing either the low or medium setting, we'll slide it right underneath the sacrum for supported bridge pose. The arms can fall anywhere alongside the body. Could bring them back up overhead. Option here to straighten one leg at a time, finding a little more opening through the hip flexors. You haven't already done so, switching out the legs. If you decided to straighten one, we'll be bending that knee, bringing both soles of the feet to connect to the ground. Using an inhale to press hips up just enough to slide the block out from underneath you. And roll spine back down to the ground. Hug knees in towards the chest. And have arms or hands around shins and just take some circles through the knees, rock side to side to give the little lower back massage. And keeping right knee hugged in towards chest, we'll send left leg long. Using an inhale to squeeze right knee in. Exhale, twist over towards the left. Maybe using a block to support right leg. Right arm can fall out to a T. Keeping the shoulders connected to the floor here. Knowing that you don't have to begin your shape in your deepest variation of the pose. Once we hold them for a couple of minutes, and kind of allow the body to soften and slowly sink into that. And then using next inhale to pull right knee back through center. Exhale, let right knee drop out towards the right, keeping the sole of right foot connected to left thigh or shin. Supine tree pose. And here arms can fall anywhere that feels natural alongside the body, maybe resting on belly or chest. Or you could bring arms up overhead to grow your branches, a gentle chest opener. Using an inhale to draw right knee back up. Exhale to send it long, switching out legs. Left knee draws in towards chest. Give it a gentle squeeze. Hands. And then exhale to cross left knee over the body, setting up your twist. Letting breath invite some softness and release with each exhale. Next inhale, pulling left knee through center, and then exhale to open left knee out towards the left, connecting sole of the foot to right leg, finding your supine tree on the second side, using an arm variation that feels right to you today. And you could place a block underneath that bent leg. If knee doesn't come all the way to the ground and wants a little bit more support. Using an inhale to draw left knee back up. And bend both knees and roll to one side or the other. Eventually pressing into palms to make your way up to all fours. Tabletop. And from here, finding some cat cow rolls through the spine, stretching and curling. some side to side movement, rolls, doing whatever would feel good. And eventually, we'll just go ahead and sit back on the heels, letting a hero pose. And maybe you want to put a block under hips here. You have sensitive knees or ankles. From our hero's pose, we'll start to let right ear drop over towards right shoulder, finding the edge there, and then we'll swing the right arm up and over, bringing palm to the left side of the head, and just use the weight of your arm to kind of tug the head a little bit lower. You're not actively pulling, just adding that little tiny bit of weight. Take a few full breaths here. Releasing the hand, using an inhale to come back through center. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. And swing left arm up and over. Planting palm on the head. Just kind of resting the hand there. Creating a little extra tug through those neck muscles. One more full breath. And using an inhale, release the hand, bring head back up to center. Then we'll lift hips to stand up on knees, and then kickstand right leg out to the right. So we've got a kind of a straight leg, sole of the foot planted on the ground. Then inhale, we'll sweep left arm high and start to fall over towards right leg. You can support yourself with that right arm, or you can grab your block, place it under your hand, finding some opening and lift through the left side of the body. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale, we'll lift through center, both arms high. Then exhale, plant left hand, reach right arm up and over, finding a long line through the whole right side of the body. Full breath here. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the right. Inhale through center. And exhale to the left. Just move through those two positions one more time, taking it at your own pace. Feeling length through the side body. Actually meeting back in center. You can exhale, hands to heart center, re-ground the right shin. And then let's set up other side, so left leg kickstands out. I'm using an inhale, sweep right arm high, come up and over. Inhale to center. Exhale, right plant, left arm up, reaches long. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right. We'll move through that once more, letting your breath guide the movement. holding anywhere that feels particularly good. Eventually meeting back in center and then exhaling back to hero's pose, sitting back on heels, having that tall spine, closing the eyes. And as you're ready, we'll take knees wide, keeping toes together. And then walk hands out long, grounding the forehead, child's pose. Letting the lower back open up. Letting that belly be soft. Getting back to that full, deep breath. Taking your last inhale and exhale here. And the next inhale, we'll lift up through tabletop. Exhale, tuck toes, and hips up and back for downward facing dog. We won't stay here long. Use it as a transition pose, but if you want to take some pedals through the feet or a little bit of movement that might feel good, feel free. Eventually, we'll use an inhale to bring gaze to the top of the mat towards hands, and exhale to step feet forward, setting up a forward fold. So planting feet about hip width distance and bringing a pretty generous bend into the knees here. You can rest belly against thighs. And thinking about sending hips up and back, and at the same time, just letting the whole upper body fall forward from hips. Allowing the head to hang heavy. Maybe taking some movement here, swaying side to side. Bending and straightening through knees. Wrapping arms behind legs. Shaking the head out, yes and no. Eventually inhaling to lift halfway, fingertips to shins or thighs. Exhale to plant hands and start to sink hips into a low squat. So you can widen out the feet a little bit for this. And let toes point out and away from each other instead of straight forward. So you can open up the stance a little bit. And if you want here, you place a block under the hips for a little bit more groundedness and support. Bringing hands to heart center and using elbows to press knees away from each other. Malasana, Yogi squat. And to come out of this, if you're on a block, you could just sit back onto sits bones, into a cross-legged seat. Or if you're not, planting hands, maybe one in front and one behind for a little bit of stability so that you can come down. The sits bones, finding a comfortable seat. And then either continue sitting on your block if you like that, grabbing a blanket if you want just a little bit of lift for the hips. We'll set up fire log pose, so start with right shin and crossing and stacking it on top of left. Finding our nice tall seat first. Let's have a block handy for support if you want. Finding an inhale to prepare, and then exhale to start to hinge forward, leading with the heart first, and then eventually starting to round shoulders. Letting the crown of the head fall towards the floor. Sending breath into resistance and into tension. And letting that bring in softness. And to bring palms back underneath shoulders. And slowly pressing yourself up to the seat. And uncrossing legs. Release them both long. Shake out the knees. Rock the hips out side to side. Take a few windshield wipers. Some kind of counter pose or movement that feels good. And we'll get ready to set up second side. This time stacking left shin on top of right. Inhaling to find that tall spine. And then exhale, hinging from hips. Starting to fold over legs. Noticing if the side feels different than the first. Finding another full breath here. Grounding palms under shoulders. Starting to press back up tall. As you come up, releasing legs. Making that counter pose. Movement, whatever it is. From here, rolling onto your back. Again, we'll cross. We'll bring both knees to bend, soles of the feet on the floor, and then we'll cross right leg over left, like you're sitting in a chair. Cross legs. And then you have to let both knees fall over towards the left. Taking a twist. Your arms out to a T. Maybe let gaze fall over towards right fingertips. If at any point the crossed legs becomes uncomfortable or just doesn't feel good, just go ahead and uncross and stack right leg over left. Using this inhale to roll back to center, unwind legs if you kept them crossed. And take the opposite side, left leg over right. With an exhale, start to let legs fall over into a twist towards the right. Next inhale, raise both knees back to center, uncrossing, and keeping soles of the feet together. Just let knees fall out wide like a book. And choose where the arms go, finding your version of Supta Baddha Konasana for today. Maybe starting to close the eyes if you haven't already. from here, if there's any final shape or movement you want to include as part of your practice tonight, I invite you to move into that. Otherwise, you can start to set up for Shavasana, finding that shape on the floor again. Perhaps the same one that you started class in, maybe something different. Just allowing it to be a shape where the physical body can be fully relaxed. You can just release, sink into your mat. Find some stillness for the last few minutes of your practice. Starting to deepen inhales. Maybe bringing a little bit of an audible sigh into exhales. Eventually finding some small movements in hands and feet, rolling out wrists and ankles, rocking the head side to side. But then using an inhale to find a full body stretch, drawing arms overhead, and then exhaling to curl over to one side or the other. Drawing knees in towards the chest. And taking a few breaths to gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Keeping eyes closed. And once you're there, finding a releasing breath We'll exhale all the air out of the lungs. Draw a deep inhale through the nose, belly, ribs, chest, fill all the way up. Open mouth, exhale. Bring thumbs to heart center, heart position. Finding some gratitude for our ability to take some time out of our day, our week, for a yoga practice. And bring thumbs to third eye center. Namaste. Happy Saturday night. Thanks, everybody.